Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 52nd episode of the Anatad Podcast. My name is Nimmer. I'm in California, and I've got two other individuals with me today. A third will be joining us a little bit later, or has joined us, and we'll just play the recording a little bit later. And a few of us may be or may not be having a few drinks along the way, so we'll see. We might have a little fun here. But hello, mystery guests.
Hello, Nimmer. How are you, my friend? And hello, Warren. Welcome for another week of the Anatad Podcast.
Yes,
I'm
doing
glad to
well.
be back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you saw, by the way, an unboxing go up on YouTube earlier, that was not the actual podcast, but feel free to watch it. It was rather fun to do, and it was very spontaneous. But
I might have to tune in later then after my
tune in later.
after the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Today is Saturday, September the 19th, and we've got a number of things to talk about. The news section today is about Apple. Yay, Apple. Apple. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, some things that happened this past week. Then we've got a demo of, or not really a demo. We've got we'll do the demo of that app next week. But we have a mystery guest of an app that is both on Apple and on Android. And if you join us next week, we will try to do a demo of that app next week. But this week we'll do the mystery guest. And then once that mystery guest comes along, then we've got some listener emails. We've got 3 listener emails this week. And so that'll be good.
What, no raising of money this week, Nimmer? Actually, speaking of raising of money, how's that coming along?
Yeah, we had, I think, a few more. I actually was reading those the other day, and we're still being reached out to. And unfortunately, I still don't have my $10 million. But
Well, I was wondering about the pay packet. I thought they were supposed to have come through by now. But,
yeah, I still don't have it, unfortunately. Warren, you missed that. Well, I think you missed that. You weren't here last week, were you?
No, I wasn't here last week.
I got offered the chance to win something like it. It was a great. If you read the listener emails or listen to that section from last week, it was rather fun. We could win $10 million or something.
Something crazy, yeah.
Some crazy number.
Hey,
And we
send
actually
that to
had
me.
3.
I might win us that moolah,
Man,
man.
we had 3 people. It wasn't just one that was offering us dollar. It was $3.
Yes. So if you haven't
amazing.
listened to that, that was episode 51. And you know what? Listen to the whole thing. But
I'd
if you
have
don't
to.
want to, then use the chapter markers and skip to the listener section at least and have a listen to that. Some good
All right, so
entertainment
I'll
for
go
you.
after that and make sure I win us that moolah, whatever it
Oh,
takes to win
absolutely,
that
man.
$1 million
You can you follow that up for us? Definitely, because
I
I reckon we're
definitely
in the
will.
money. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I actually said that if we win, then I will be glad to share that amount with all of our Twitter followers. So if you're following us on Twitter, if we win, I will share that amount and I will split it evenly amongst all the Twitter followers.
And just remember, listeners, the more people that follow us on Twitter, the less you get. So that's an incentive to potentially follow us on Twitter, isn't it?
and then subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That gives you
Subscribe to the
another
YouTube
perk.
because, yeah, well, it is a perk, but sadly you win nothing for subscribing to the YouTube channel. So if you follow us on Twitter, apparently you win a lot.
Oh, my.
Oh,
right.
dear.
Tabitha says here, and she says, well, I can't speak. She says, there you are. Hello, Tabitha, and thank you
Hey,
for joining us. Austin Pinto also is here.
Let me
and
guess,
says,
come fast. Yeah, there you
Yes.
go, baby. I knew that was
there
coming.
you go, my man. There you go,
This
my
is
man.
like clockwork on a weekly basis. Very much.
I love that boy.
Oh, dear.
All right. Well, let's see. We've got the news section this week, and we've got some news about, guess what? The Apple. So they had their event this week, and they announced some good things this week. However, one of the things they did not announce was
Dun,
no
dun, dun.
iPhone.
Oh, wow. What? When's that baby coming out, Nim?
Yeah, they usually announce iPhones. Last I saw were some rumors that possibly October, middle of October, somewhere around there.
Blame it on COVID. Everything is COVID, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So the first article that we're going to talk about.
Well, can we actually go with the second one if you don't mind, Nim? The one that
Yep,
you
we're
popped
going to
up
do
there?
with the second one.
If you don't
Yep.
mind.
Is the announcement of all the things that happened this week at Apple. So we've got a digital trends article that does a very nice job of summing things up, and I'll link that into the show notes. But they've announced a good number of things. We've gotten iPads, we've gotten subscriptions, lots of things. So let's go through this article here. We've got an Apple Watch Series 6. Now, if anybody's interested in the Apple Watch Series 6, that watch has added the... we've added some new colors.
Colors,
So
yeah.
that's good. We've gotten a new sensor.
That's
that
one
does
of the
blood
health things, isn't it?
oxygen saturation, which is good. The new Samsung watch, the Galaxy Watch 3, also has that, although hopefully the Apple one's a little more accurate. And it, of course, offers a new processor, which is faster and better and everything else. You know, we always got a better chip, so that's nothing to... That's nothing to talk
Don't forget
about. But it
about the
does allow, the
L241.
new processor does allow access to an always-on altimeter. So it will always track your elevation. So that's good. They also have a 2.5 times brighter on-screen display. Now, they did announce another watch that Warren's talking about. That is the Apple Watch SE.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, that's what it's called.
That's mine. El Tipo.
It's the same design as the Apple Watch 6. It supports features like family setup and fall detection, which is good. And has the already powerful last year processor, so you're not getting the latest processor. It is also available, and it starts at $279. It does not have the latest sensors, though. So if you want the blood oxygen saturation, all this, that, it doesn't have that. The Apple Watch Series
Or if you
3
just simply want
apparently
to
is
look
still
cool.
available for $199. Although I'm not
Okay.
sure why you'd get that when you could get the Series 6 for a little more. But I'm not sure why you get the Series... or the SE, rather. I'm not sure why I'd get the SE even if you could get the 6, but I don't know. They're options,
How much
I
is
guess.
the regular 6 compared? I mean, price wise.
6, I believe, is $399.
It's about $400. Yeah,
So
$100.
maybe $120 more.
Yep, it starts at $399. So
Yeah.
the other one is $279. The SE is $279, and the Apple Watch 3 apparently is still available for $199. We have a new iPad, a couple new iPads. We have the new iPad Air. So it has a edge-to-edge display, 10.9 inch. It has Touch ID, but the Touch ID is built into the power button rather than the home button, which is different. There's no Face ID, it's just Touch ID. It is far more powerful than the previous version, of course. I would hope it would be. A14 processor, which is good. 40% CPU performance boost and 30% graphics performance. Fun. It also has USB-C connector. Oh my goodness, finally. Let's hope their phones actually get USB-C
Wow.
eventually.
Is that true? Apple?
Yeah.
Fruitvale changing course?
Apparently
I hope
so.
so.
Yeah, that'd
Although
be
it's
great.
going to make things hard for people getting accessories and all those Beats headphones and everything.
Oh,
But
yeah.
hey,
Oh, not only them, what about the Ambios and all that stuff? Wow,
Yeah.
they're out of commission.
you'll be able to use the Magic Keyboard and the second generation Apple Pencil. Ooh la la. Price is $599 is what it starts with, and has a bunch of new colors and will be available in October. Then we have the new iPad, which is not the Air, it's the regular iPad. We've got a spec bump, A12 Bionic chip, so it's not getting, seems like the A14, which is strange to me. 40% GPU performance over the last generation model. A12 is bringing the new neural engine, which is brand new for the first time, enabling new artificial intelligence features. It supports the new smart keyboard and Apple Pencil, but it only supports the first generation pencil, not the second pencil. It starts at $329, unless you're a student, in which case it's $299. Doesn't seem like a very worthwhile purchase to me, but if you want that one, I would personally get the Air, but iPad seems fine, I guess. Then we've got this subscription that I was mentioning is Apple One. You can access all of its services. It includes iCloud, Apple Music, Apple Arcade, Apple Fitness Plus, and Apple News Plus. It starts $15 for an individual plan, which includes Apple Music Plus, Apple Music, Apple Arcade, and 50 gigs of iCloud. The family one is at $20 per month and includes 200 gigs of iCloud, and the ability to share with up to 6 family members. The Premier plan adds Apple News Plus and Apple Fitness Plus with up to 2 terabytes of iCloud storage and is $30 per month. So if you care about all these services, might be worth bundling them together if you are getting them anyway. Otherwise, sounds like a way to get more moolah out of you. They also announced Apple Fitness Plus, which we just talked a little bit about. It integrates with Apple Watch Workout. It shows heart rate, stuff like that. It's available for the iPhone, iPad, Apple TV. When you start a video, it'll start the corresponding workout on your Apple Watch. It'll highlight data during your workout on your watch. They include yoga, cycling, a bunch of other stuff. 10 per month or 80 per year. If you buy a new Apple Watch, you get 3 months for free. But then there's also, of course, the software updates. We've got iOS 14, iPad OS 14, Watch OS 7, and TV OS 7. They have not announced the new OS for the Mac, so called Big Sur, which maybe will be coming out later in the year, but that one has not come out yet.
Did you say Big Sur?
Yes.
Wow, and I thought some of the Android namings were weird. Sheesh.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
if you get iOS 14, I've seen a lot of reports that it's relatively stable. There are some minor bugs, and there's AppleVis article that that you can take a look at, and we'll get that linked. And
Well, somebody actually, now I'm not sure about this, but a friend did mention apparently they were having some issues with their new imaging stuff. Apparently there's a bug there with some of the new imaging feature that Apple has introduced. I don't know a huge amount about that because I haven't really read into it a great deal, but just letting people know that that's what I have heard on the grapevine. So if that matters to you, then maybe hold off till 14.1.
yeah, the issues there have to do. So VoiceOver has gotten features which allow you to actually do a OCR of the screen, so of the entire screen. So, for example, if there's an app that's not accessible, VoiceOver will try to make that app accessible by labeling the items, and more than just adding labels, it'll actually try to make those items clickable. It uses artificial intelligence. So
Oh, Warren, this what Nima's talking about, this is something that one of your favorite screen readers has been able to do for about 8 months now. Good old commentary. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Rub
Sorry,
it in,
Neil.
bro. Rub it in.
Take it away, Lynn.
Yeah, so VoiceOver and TalkBack have been able to do labeling of items like buttons, for example. It'll try to add a label to something that isn't labeled. Um, VoiceOver has done OCR on web pages, things like that, but they've just recently started, like I said, to try to label unlabeled apps or apps that completely are not accessible, that you can't even reach the buttons. It's not even that they're unlabeled; it's just that you can't even access the app at all. So they've tried to do that. Now, when you do turn a lot of those features on, apparently, yes, VoiceOver does get more sluggish, but I guess it is doing more work under the hood, so I should probably expect that it would. But if you don't expect that it would, then just wait a while or just turn the feature off and you'll be fine. Or wait a while and maybe it'll improve. Who knows?
I have to say, though, it's a damn good feature, having used it on commentary in particular to get particular web pages with sports. And also, Nimo, you'll remember this, an app that we tried with the Ambios headphones a while back that was completely useless. I can't remember the name of the app, but I'm sure it will ring a bell with you.
Something studio or something.
Yeah, it was actually able to make it completely accessible. So if Apple can get that happening, that's pretty cool. That's actually damn useful. So
Yeah.
pretty cool feature.
So that is the Apple announcement. That's what's going on with Apple news.
Now I'll just quickly... Sorry, Nemo, I was just going to quickly run through this other article, or did you have something else to add to the
Nope,
what
go
you're
ahead.
saying there? So the other article that we're going to link in the show notes is from BGR. And thank you to Craig for passing that on to me today, one of our listeners from Down Under. In this article, basically stating pretty much fairly similar to what Nimo was just saying before regarding the iPhone. It's expected it'll be released in mid-October. Rumour has it, however, that it will be more expensive than the iPhone 11. It's looking like it's possibly going to be around about $750. And it's looking like they're going to do a Samsung and not include any accessories, in particular if you're in the US. So
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know.
no power charging thing. Power
know,
no
bank.
charging, no buds, no nothing.
I'm about to say, I think we all need to do a boycott of all these devices that don't include accessories, and we need to go with manufacturers that will. I don't know that anyone will actually do this along with me, but I'm at the point where I think the only way manufacturers will not do this crap is if they start losing money. And so I'm putting out a word here on this podcast, and maybe I'll be the first, but I'm putting out a word. Do not buy devices from manufacturers that will not include the very simple charger in the box. Do not. Because if you do, then you're telling manufacturers, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little heads about it. You guys don't need that anyway. But we're going to charge you the same exact price that you were paying before.
So does that mean you're going to be returning your Ultra?
Well, the Ultra came with a charger.
Yeah, but didn't you get the headphones?
No, but they sent me the headphones. But if they if they wouldn't send me the headphones, or especially if they didn't include the charger, I can promise you I will not buy a device that does not include a charger. Now I have plenty of chargers.
But I do have to add, and I completely concur with what you're saying. And the other thing that's very frustrating is I very distinctly remember listening to many podcasts around about 6 months ago that said very clearly that these manufacturers were likely and we're going to try and make the prices cheaper. So,
Well, they have
I
not
don't know
made
how
the prices
much
cheaper. In fact,
no.
I see the iPhone price going higher,
Yeah.
and
It's
they
at
have
least
not made the
50 to 100
Samsung
up.
devices cheaper.
no.
And so, to me, if you're going to make the prices higher, then I actually expect more, and I certainly expect the accessories. And so, a charger costs $5, if not less than that, to include in the box. I expect the charger in the box.
Well, because I mean, they talk to us about, headphone jacks are this and that. So you'd think that the prices would go down. No, prices have
Right.
kept up.
You know, forget the
going up.
headphones. Everybody got a pair of their favorite headphones. They got rid of the jack. We can use Bluetooth headphones. But I don't like it, but okay, let's forget about the headphones. But the charger is a fundamental thing that you need to be able to use your device.
Yeah,
And
but
not
what I was
everybody
trying
who's
to
getting
say
a
though,
device still has the charger.
what I was trying to say though, Nimmer, is that I don't think that the prices are going to go down just because you're not having a power brick in the box. I mean,
I
look
think
at,
they should, but and since they're not, I think that we should boycott any and this is why So usually I buy every iPhone that comes out, and I buy all the Samsungs that come out, and I buy all the Pixels that come out. I will not be buying an iPhone this year because they're not including the charger. If that rumor is true and it's not in the box, I will not be buying one this year. And I will not be buying a Pixel because it seems like the Pixel 5 is going to be the same as the 4a 5G, and there's no point in spending an extra 200
so they.
bucks for a
No.
Oh, wow.
Pixel 5 or whatever it is.
No, I wouldn't bother
Essentially,
with
it's
that.
going to be the same thing.
Now, I can appreciate, obviously, you are getting a better processor, etc., etc. I don't necessarily expect the price to go down. What I do expect, same as what you said, Nimmer, is that they do throw at least the charger in.
Yeah,
You should
throw
really
the
be getting a
charger in the
charger.
box, throw the cable in the box. You're not going to do that, I'm not going to buy your product.
And honestly,
And
how
I
much
urge
room
every
is that
user to
baby
do the
taking
same.
up? It's not taking up much room. Like, seriously,
Nope.
come on.
Nope.
know.
And you guys might disagree, and if you do, please let us know either in the comments or an email. And I would urge you that if you're listening to this, do not buy a phone or device that does not at least give you a charger in the box, because you're essentially telling the manufacturers it's okay.
And my problem is, let's say, okay, they're counting on the fact that, oh, you probably have one lying around anyway. But how about someone who's getting that device or getting a phone for the first time and they don't have a charger? How in the hell do you want them to charge their
Well, the
phone?
other issue you're potentially going to have with the iPhone 12 is if they do go to USB-C, everyone who's had an iPhone in the past has got Lightning. So if they don't throw a charger in with that baby, everyone's going to have to go out and get one anyway.
And here's
It's
my other
craziness.
problem with this is that if you don't have the right wattage charger, if you don't have the right kind of charger,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you could either cause damage to your device by plugging it into the incorrect charger, or even if the charger is smart enough not to cause damage, you're not charging your device in an optimal way. That's part of the
Correct.
issue. You may not
Yep.
be fast charging or whatever if you're using an
Well, you're not
overpowered brick.
utilizing the benefits of your device. I mean, if you're getting an
Exactly.
iPhone 12, you're likely to be able to get fast charging, which I imagine will
Yes.
definitely be part of it. So if you've got a charger from, let's say, most people, or some people might have got, I don't know, an iPhone
Android
10 or, an
iPhone
8
10 or
or
9 or something or
whatever.
8.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
guess they didn't have
not
a 9.
that didn't have fast charging back then.
No,
so
it did not.
You're not utilizing the benefits, and you're going to have to fork out for that baby. And I can guarantee you, and I'm only saying this because it's true, Apple will definitely charge you more than $5 for a charger.
Yes.
Of
way you're gonna
course.
pick that baby
Maybe
up for
$30 or $39.99,
sure.
something stupid like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's look
Craziness.
at the comments. I've got some comments. Tabitha says, "Get that money." Yeah, yep.
Yeah, well.
Austin says, "If they don't give money, you give them plastic." Yep, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Warren's got plenty under his bed.
Oh,
Quentin
boy.
Thomas.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Nimmer, really enjoy the podcast. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Warren and Marco are doing a good job, too. Quentin Apple says that the Touch ID and the side button is the greatest, the
Oh, now
smallest
I've got to.
authentication sensor ever.
Yeah, now that you've said that, I think it was Quentin. There was another thing also being talked about, and I'm not sure. I don't think you mentioned it, Nimo. Apparently, now I don't know if this is actually going to happen or not, but there's a rumor that Face ID is going out of the next iPhone.
I would doubt that. They kind of got a good start on Face ID. I don't think they're getting rid of Face ID, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would doubt it too. But apparently, yeah, it's definitely been doing the rounds.
I wouldn't put that any stock in that kind of a rumor. It's possible that they'll add an in-fingerprint display.
Yeah, I think that's
in-display
far more
fingerprints,
likely. Yeah,
sensor,
on the front.
and
yeah.
and they'll have Face ID, but I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to get rid of. I just can't see them doing
It would
that.
be nice
Who
to
knows?
have both, if you ask me. Yeah, it's good to have
Oh,
both.
well, let's be honest. The Face ID from Apple is, I'm going to say it shits all over Samsung's. It just does. It's way better.
Well, the reason that it does is they're using different tech. They're using similar
that's
one
right.
to that Google is using in their Pixel,
Yeah.
and the one in Samsung isn't even secure at all. So
No. Well, the one in Samsung, you can wave a photograph of somebody in front of it, whoever's the phone is, and it'll unlock. So that's how
Yeah.
secure that baby is.
Tabitha
So-
likes your puppy.
That's no bueno.
And Chelsea says not having a charger included is silly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Okay,
hear
guys.
that.
Well, if you've listened this far, we'd like you to share the podcast, like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube. It's really important for us to get the word out. It's important so that we can keep delivering content to you, and it's important for us as well. It gets the word out and get more listeners and hopefully get more guests on the show. And speaking of guests, what we're going to do is I'm going to play a recording that we took earlier today with a guest speaker, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his particular app, and we'll hear a little bit about what's coming next in his app. Now, next week, we will do a demonstration of that app, and so we'll make sure to do a demo for anybody who does not have it. Now, just because we have a guest on the show does not mean that we necessarily recommend anybody go and install the app that they talk about, or that we like the app or use the app that they talk about. Although in this case, we, at least Marco and I, and Ward probably too, think that it is actually a very decent app for what it is. It may not be worth the money, but some of us, may disagree or agree on that. It may not be worth the money, but some of us may or may not agree. So, all right. Let us.
So, listeners, we're definitely still going to be around. So, please feel free to leave comments as the interview is being played. But whilst Nimmer's getting that up, we will put ourselves on mute and stand by for Warren in the interview to introduce our special guest for today.
Yes, and we will comment back in the chat, and maybe we'll read out some of the comments after, and we will come back with listener emails as well. So, all right, here we go.
We do want to welcome a guest, a very important guest for that matter. We do want to welcome Karthik from the Envision team that everyone is familiar with. We got started back with Envision. When was that? Nima, you remember when Envision came to play? Was it 2016,
A few years
2015?
ago, at least. Yeah, probably somewhere around there. Where are you joining us from,
Marco?
Karthik?
So, hi. Thanks so much, Warren and team for having me on the Anatad Podcast. So I'm joining you guys from the Netherlands, from this
Wow, the Netherlands. They got some good stuff there. All right.
for sure, a lot of good stuff. But so I'm joining you guys from the Netherlands. And to answer your question, we've been around, on Android at least, we've been around since 2019. And then on iOS, we've been around since 2018. So that's 2018 February is when we launched on iOS, and then 2019 is when we actually launched on Android. Yeah.
Okay. So, because to me, it's like we've had it forever, and I can't believe it's just.
Now, Karthik, I'm looking here at your website. So you're one of the founders of the product, and are you the lead developer as well?
So I'm Karthik Kannan. I'm or on the website, I'm the chief engineer, sort of. Yes, I'm also, you can say I'm not, you could say I'm just, right now, I'm one of the developers in the development team. That's how you can put it. But my main role at Envision is to take care of the product, to sort of make sure the product is on point, it does what it does, and to sort of set the roadmap for what it should be in the coming months, years, and sort of make sure that we make the right decisions to ensure the product is sort of delivering value, not just today, but like a year down the line, 2 years down the line, to make sure that's here to stay. That's my role at Envision primarily.
For those listeners who are relatively new to the podcast, or maybe don't know a huge amount about Envision, just describe what is Envision AI.
Envision, for those of you all who are new to what Envision is doing. So Envision is a tool that helps people with a visual impairment to help them to live more independently. So what we do is we help them read text. We help them read text from all different kinds of surfaces in more than 60 different languages. We help them to go ahead and do things like recognize faces of friends and family, recognize their personal belongings, and so much more. So basically, you could think of it as a Swiss Army knife of different tools, to do different tasks. So you could use it to go ahead, like I said, read text, or even recognize products, recognize faces. So it's a Swiss Army tool that keeps expanding, as to what you can do with it, but it's mostly useful for all kinds of recognition tasks. And to really think about why we started Envision, of course, seeing AI was not the reason why we started Envision. In fact, we started Envision as a thesis, So me and my co-founder. So my co-founder was studying industrial design at the time in the Netherlands, and when he was doing his industrial design master's course, the last 6 months of your master's course usually is a thesis, right? And it so happened that me and my co-founder were at this blind school in India, and we were giving a talk to these kids about because he was a designer, I was an engineer. We were talking about it was more like a career talk. So we were talking about what it is to be an engineer, what it is to be a designer, and we sort of asked them what kind of problems they would like to solve. So we asked the kids after the talk what kind of problems they'd like to solve when they grew up. And a lot of things that they were talking about was revolving around independence, right? So there were kids who were saying, hey, I would love to be able to read my books independently, or I'd be able to go out independently and meet my friends. I'd like to have a career in this field, but I seem to be limited because I'm dependent on other people. So that sort of triggered a conversation amongst the two of us that, hey, what does independence mean for visually impaired people? And that's when my co-founder, the other Karthik, started to do more research as part of his master's thesis on what independence meant for visually impaired people. And during the course of that research, what he found out was, or the insight that we got was, independence meant access to information, right? Because so much of the information that's around us is in a very visual way. When we give people access to that visual information, they automatically become more independent, right? That was sort of the insight that led us to go ahead and start working on this. So we decided to look at artificial intelligence because I was into artificial intelligence at that time, so what was called machine learning, right? So I was a lot into machine learning at that time, and I was looking at all these really cool advances that were happening in OCR, in image recognition, and I was like, wait, we can take this stuff and we could help people get access to the visual information around them, and that could lead to independence. So then we started to build very, very early prototypes of what became the Envision app. This was back in 2016, 2017, when we were doing this research. And over a period of 6 months, as we were doing the thesis, the early prototype of the app became very, very, very popular amongst people in the Netherlands and Europe. So much so that when we finished the thesis, without even really putting this app on the App Store or the Play Store, just using the beta version, it became super popular. We had more than 400, 500 people who were just using this really crappy prototype, but still getting a lot done. And at the end of the thesis, a lot of these people wrote back to us and said, this seems like a really impactful tool. And if you guys are really serious about this, you guys should do this full time. That's the only way you guys can try and get this into the hands of more people. So we decided to just go ahead and do this full time. And that's really how Envision started. And we first launched the beta of the Envision app back in October or September of 2017. That was just, seeing AI was actually nowhere in the picture at that time. I think it was just an idea that Microsoft had done back in 2016 with some glasses and something like that. And we actually put that out as a beta in September 2017. It snowballed more and more and more. And by February 2018, we were out of beta and it became like a full-time thing that we're doing. And here we are, 2.5, 3 years later, still doing this, and I hope we continue to keep doing it for a long time to come.
That's great. So to address the elephant in the room, can you tell us a little bit about the pricing of Envision?
Sure. So Envision is so basically it's a subscription-based app. So you pay a monthly subscription of €1.99. So it's €2 a month. That's how much you pay for a monthly subscription of the app. You can install the app for free and you get a 14 days, no strings attached free trial. So you basically go ahead, use the app free for 14 days. And once the 14 days are over, you can choose to go ahead and pick a plan with us. And that's really how the Envision subscription works.
Okay, that's great. Now, one of the things that I've talked to many developers about, and when I've interviewed different developers, has to be this idea of modes. And all these
Mm-hmm.
apps have many kind of modes, and they kind of seeing AI and vision AI, all these things have modes. And the
Mm-hmm.
problem that I have with modes, and I want to get just your thought on it and see if you've
Mm-hmm.
heard this feedback before. The problem that I personally have with modes is eyeballs don't have modes. And when you're walking around, and as you said, the very important thing is to get access to information. For example, if you walk out into an airport Think about how many things there are at the airport. How much that you can see, not just things that you're passing by, not just gates, but even the advertisements. That and there's a lot of things that blind people we miss out on. Whether we want to have it in or not is irrelevant, but we don't even get the chance to have it in the first place. And when an app has modes, then you have to stop and you have to change the mode. Okay, I'm walking around. Do I want the quick text? No, maybe I want a product. Okay, I want product. So let's change it to product. Maybe I want face detection. I want to know if someone's around me. Let's change it to face detection. Oh, no, I want back quick. You know what I mean? What do you think
Object
about that? Is that
detection,
something that you've
something
heard
like
that
that.
before?
We have heard that before, and I think the ultimate vision for us is to really have an app that's able to give you the best possible information based on the context. So, for example, if you're pointing the app at, say, if you're in a train station and you're pointing it at the display in the train station, I would ideally want the app to give me, not just read out the text, but sort of understand what the text is and then give me information based on what I'm pointing at, right? That's the ideal vision for Envision. Like, we don't want to be an app that has these different modes or these different buttons. We want to eventually get to a point where the app is just a camera, and then you just take it out, point at stuff, and then gives you information based on the context. So that's the ideal vision, but we're quite far away from that vision technically. So when we did the early testing, I'm talking about like a couple of years back, when we were really testing this thing of contextually getting information. We felt that was not there yet, and people could do more with the app if we gave them these modes that they can work with, right? So a lot of times people want to get certain information from out of certain images. So let's say they're pointing at a piece of text, or let's say they're pointing at a product, right? They want to know what the product is, so they could use the barcode scanning feature to scan the product and scan the barcode on the product and get the information out of it. Or if they are trying to scan a document, they know that they're trying to scan a document, so they go to the document mode, take a picture, scan it. So yes, of course, I would ideally like to have I would like to live in a world where we don't have to have these different buttons to choose. Like, I could just point at something and I get the information I want out of it. But we're quite far from that future. So hence, I think the way we work with the different modes, I think that sort of solves the problem for now.
Is the vision for Envision AI ultimately that modes are not something that you're going to go down the path of if that can be avoided?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I would love to have a visual, I'd like to build a visual assistant where I could go ahead and ask it questions of my surroundings, and then it would give me the information that I need from it. So, if I'm at a train station, I would like to ideally ask it, hey, how do I get to this platform? And then it would go ahead and scan the environment, find out which platform that I need to get to, and then just take me there, guide me there ideally. Right. If I'm looking at a book, right, I'd like to basically go say, hey, can you read this book out to me? And then ideally it would scan the pages, and then speak out the information to me. So that's, the kind of vision that we have for Envision, to make it like a very seamless visual assistant. And that's sort of the future that we are working towards. I think we'll get there for sure. We're already sort of walking down that path. But I think it's still a little bit away given the current state of different technologies.
One thing that I try to distinguish with developers and between is this idea that you just mentioned it yourself, is this idea of I have a guide who takes me where I need to go, tells me what I need to do, and I just ask it questions. I have a guide. And this other idea of I'm an autonomous, independent person and I explore things and I have things given to me, not based off of what the app thinks I need, but based off of what's actually in my environment. And what I mean by that is when I'm walking down the road and I have an app open, it would be really nice to know as I'm passing, I see this text on my right side. I see this sign that is 10 feet ahead of me. I see this sign that has an arrow that points left or right or whatever direction. I see this store and the store has these hours. So, something similar to, like I said, when you walk down the road, there's a lot of information that you get, or an airport. There's a lot of information that you get at an airport. Airport is just one example. Any kind of building, really. You get all kinds of information, and it's not a practical thing to open up Envision or any of these apps and say, let me switch to the mode that I want. First of all, I don't even know if there's a sign there, right? I don't even know if there's text there that I might want to read. I don't even know if it's actually there or not. And then once I do figure out it's there, then I have to pull out this thing and I have to switch modes and I have to stay, stop right there where I'm at and let me find it and take a picture of it. That doesn't work for a lot of use cases. It works when you're trying to read your mail. Sure, it works when you're trying to read a book, but it doesn't work when you're actually trying to navigate your environment. And I think that is something to consider of whether or not you want to go down the road of guiding a person. As you said, I want to tell a person how to get to the train platform. Well, I think a blind person can be very independent and learn. And I don't think we are there yet. I don't think blind people understand this concept yet, but we can learn to navigate based off of the information that we are presented, sort of like a regular person that is not blind would just walk around. How would you find what you need? You might find the map, but you might just walk around, right? You might just walk around and see what there is to see what signs there are to follow, what arrows, whatever. You're not getting guided somewhere. You're not getting somebody's not telling you go left, go right. Although some people might find that
Yeah.
helpful, but that's not how people navigate. They're navigating based off of information and clues that they have in their environment that we as blind people are missing. One of the apps that I think that you should consider looking at is called The Voice. Have you ever
Hmm.
heard of the Voice app
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Android?
We've heard of the voice app, and I think we've
Okay.
also been in touch with the founder as well. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The Voice app gives you a lot of information from the camera and is based off of what the camera's seeing and not off of what the app is interpreting. And I think that's, it's a very fine distinction. But in an app like Envision, it'd be great, even if it was a hidden mode, a secondary mode. Now, I don't like modes, but even if it was a hidden mode or a secondary mode, something like that, to provide the same kind of information, and not a I don't want to recreate something that already exists, but it would be nice to know if I'm walking down the road that there is that sign and where is that sign pointing? If there's an arrow, where is that going? Where is that? Is it to my right or to my left? Where is that text at that Envision is seeing? Is it straight ahead, or is there some text on my right side that I can point my phone to and know that it's there? There's a lot of these things that we don't have access to at the moment that I think Envision would be a really great tool to help solve. But at the moment, as I can see it, Envision is sort of like a lot of these other apps that exist. Although it does a good job, but it is like one of these other apps that exist that is, okay, it's good for reading your mail. It does object detection, but as any blind person will tell you, object detection with any of these apps is kind of a joke. It's not actually serious. It's fine, it's okay, but it's not very good. It does, some other things here and there, but the biggest draw to it probably is the mail reading, right? I'm sure, I don't know, maybe some people use it to identify a face, but I'm sure that as soon as you hear that person's voice, then at least for me, that's how it works. If I hear someone's voice, then why would I need to identify their face? So I don't know. Some of these are gimmicks. And some of these features are truly helpful, like reading the mail, but then we have a lot of apps that read the mail. And what I'm trying to do is figure out where you guys are down the road of, or if you guys want to consider going down the road of actually giving blind people more of what we need and less of what we already have access to.
The way we think about it is like this, right? So we kind of the general vision that we have is we want to be we want you to be able to get shit done, no matter what you're trying to do, right? So some people, yes, we're talking about in the very far future where there is, a visual sort of a companion or a visual assistant where you'd be, either you can ask it to get you information from your surroundings, or you could basically say, okay, just give me what it is and let me pick what I want to do, or you can ask it to do very specific tasks for you. So the way we see it, yeah, we'd like to basically go ahead and give people information in a contextual way so that it doesn't really end up overloading them. So to give you an example, right? So Envision is not something that people use to just read their email. For example, people use Envision to read subtitles of, when they're watching a TV show, right? So the stuff like that is enabled by, say, the instant text option that exists within the app, where they can, go ahead, hit a button, and then it just starts to read all kinds of text around you. In fact, if you go to the Envision blog, you'll actually see one of our users using Envision app to be able to independently go through the train station. And what's happening there is Envision is not saying go left or go right or do whatever. Envision is just reading out everything that's around you, and the user takes a conscious decision to go ahead and do this or walk this way or walk that way, depending on what they hear.
The problem that I have as Envision in doing that is it does not provide any directional information. For example, arrows on
Yeah,
signs, anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And the other problem that I have at Envision, in I don't know, maybe this can be solved, is sure when you're doing the automatic recognition of text, and I don't know when I do this recognition of text, it goes dun 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 dun. Dun. I'm playing. I don't know how to do the sound correctly, but it's kind of
Hmm.
playing the sound, and then eventually it recognizes text, and it's playing the sound again. It's not
Hmm.
true automatic recognition of text, right? Is it? And it's kind of taking scan, and then it reads, and then taking another scan, and the whole time it's playing that really annoying music. I don't know. Can you turn that music off?
Yeah, you can turn that music off, by the way. So there is
Okay.
an option to
All
do
right.
that in the settings.
Oh,
But
good,
to
good.
answer your question, yes, I am aware that that's what I'm trying to get to. So what I was trying to say eventually is we are working on things in the app which can help improve the context in which you're getting. So for example, if you point to a piece of text, right, and if there are arrows in the piece of text or there is a symbol, so if you're at, let's say you're in front of a restroom, right, instead of just saying restroom, because usually restrooms will say restroom and then they'll have a symbol
Yes, and
which
there's a
indicates
symbol.
whether it's a
Yes.
male or a female restroom, right? So we are actually experimenting as we speak on doing things like that. So you would basically go ahead and say, be able to hear pantry to the left because, it'll say it has a pantry and a left or a right arrow, right? Or you would basically go ahead and point at, say, a door, and if it says restroom, and if it has the male or the female, icon, it would go ahead and speak it out to you. So we are already working on it as we speak today, and we are experimenting with things like that. So we are going to add that to the instant text feature that people use, and that's something that we are working on right now. And we eventually will try to add more contextual information. So, for example, let's say you're pointing at a poster, right, with the instant text option. Eventually, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and not just read out the poster, but then give you some more contextual information about it. So let's say you're pointing at a poster, it would say, okay, this is basically the event. It will automatically, get the time of the event. We'll go ahead and this one and ask you, can I add this to the calendar? That's the kind of intelligence that we are trying to work towards, and that kind of stuff will be rolled out in the near future.
We're not trying to be critical or be harsh, but I personally, myself, and I know that others find Envision, the actual product, to be fantastic. I think you actually do have a very, very good product. I've used it for many, many months and find the
Mm-hmm.
product to be excellent. And I think that the scanning feature's fine. It all works pretty well. But we really want you to know that there's definitely scope to move forward in certain areas that Nim has already touched on. And I think you
Yeah.
guys honestly have the tools to be able to do that. And I would personally like to see that because there are no other products. There's lots of products out there that pretty much do
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. You've got Outlook, you've got heaps of products, that do the same sort of stuff. But I truly believe that you guys probably have the tools to be able to move forward. And from what you're saying, I think you can. So don't
For sure,
feel
for
like
sure.
we're not being critical. We want you to move forward in the right ways for what blind people do actually truly want.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I mean, I don't take this as criticism at all. It's more like I'm now starting to sort of understand a deeper layer to the whole problem itself. Because I understand when I talk to everyday users, you're right. When I ask them what they want, they say, "Yeah, I want to be able to read my mail faster or better," right? But these are things like contextually adding information. That kind of thing is what really moves the needle forward for everybody. And like I said, that's something that I have made a note of, and it's something that we're already working towards because that sort of is in line with what we want to do. And in the coming months, you would see more of these kind of features being rolled out with Envision. I think we've reached a baseline, I would say a baseline quality where people can be like, okay, I can download Envision, I can use it to do these things. And then what we're going to be focusing on in the coming months is to take that a notch higher. And by what I mean by that is to add more contextual information to the stuff that Envision is giving you, right? It's not just going to be here's this text and here's what the output is. Instead, it's going to be like here's the text, here's how the text is formatted, and we have detected these many headings in the text, we have detected these columns, that's how it is. Or when you're trying to point at a piece of text and you want to read it, you won't just get the output of the text, but then if there are things that are sort of adding more context to the text, like for example, like Nim mentioned, being able to say, okay, here's this text and it has a right arrow, right? It's pointing to the right. Or here is, it says restroom and then it's a ladies' restroom, right? So we're gonna keep adding more such things in the coming months, and that is definitely in the roadmap for us.
Are you going to continue to update the Android app?
We are going to keep updating the Android app. We have some really, really genuinely big things planned out for Android. It's an ecosystem that we really like because it gives us a certain amount of flexibility that we don't have with iOS. So Android is a big focus for us. We are constantly putting out updates. We put out at least 3 to 4 updates each month on Android, and we're going to be pushing out some big stuff in the coming months. So yes, Android is going to be a focus for us, and we're going to keep pushing new stuff on Android.
I think the best of both worlds is if we're able to have probably something that I would like to crudely term as, bounded and unbounded, modes. So the unbounded would not be dependent on any mode. So, what you see is what you get. So, yet in the same breath, someone who wants to go through the modes, just all I want to do is just read my mail, or all I want to do is just scan a book. So I think I see you guys going down that road, and users are going to wind up having a very good product.
Yeah, no, I think I've definitely made a note of this idea right now, like being able to give people, like I don't think everyone might be okay with something like that, because some people have very specific goals with Envision. When they open up the app, they're like, okay, I want to be able to read this PDF, or I want to be able to scan what's in front of me, or
Well,
be
that's
able
what
to
I was
scan
actually going to
for.
ask you, Karthik, and sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Is obviously the feedback that we've provided today, we're fairly universal in what we think. But do you get a lot of varying feedback as to what people want? What is the sort of consensus of feedback, if I can ask, that you get from the users of your app?
Sure. I think most people that we interact with, and what we do at Envision, is we constantly keep interacting with users. Like, we personally, everyone in the team at least talks to a couple of users each day, if not more. So I mean, all of us do customer support on our site. So we do talk to a lot of users over the course of a week. And so there are a few things that we hear a lot. So the first thing is that people want text recognition. They really, really want the best possible text recognition out there. And that's something that a lot of our users like about Envision, because they feel that Envision is the best text recognition app out there. So, and the breadth, and that's also the reason why we continue to keep putting our focus into text recognition. I know that there are people out there who use the app for other things, but when we talk to users, predominantly what we hear is, I want to be able to read all kinds of text. So it doesn't matter if the text is in a PDF. It doesn't matter if the text is like 5 feet away from me. It doesn't matter if the text is in some weird looking pamphlet. I want to be able to read it. And that's something that has been like a revelation for us at Envision the last few years when we've been talking to users. And that's something that we are rabidly focusing on right now, to make sure that we're the best text recognition out there. And that's also the reason why we've added so many languages. I don't think there's any other app out there that reads 60 different languages. And that's also because that's been the ask from users. So when I talk to users, a lot of them just want to have a great text recognition experience. And that's sort of been our core focus, or will continue to be our key focus going forward. And it also is sort of obvious to a sighted person like me, because when I look around, everything around me is in some form of textual information on the other. When I go to pick a product in my kitchen, the way I identify it's a product is by looking at the product label, right? Or if I'm going and trying to read something, in the supermarket or at a train station, everything around me is in the form of text on some kind of a surface or the other, right? So it's sort of like a revelation to folks when we talk about it, like, oh shit, yeah, it is surrounded by text of all kinds, and being able to read that and get the right information from that text, that is what is our core focus, and that's sort of what we hear from the users as well.
I think that's great as long as the focus also is on that navigation piece because as you said, going to
Yeah,
the train station and being able to read the text is very different than reading the text on a piece of paper. And I think there's a lot of
sure.
blind people that want to read text, but I also think that is tends to be a lot of what blind people know, and so there's just not a lot of out of the box thinking that has happened. I still hear it to this day, when I ask somebody, "What are you looking for?" and they say, "Oh, we want something to read our mail," and it's like
Hmm.
we have to move past the reading the mail part eventually. We've been able to read the mail for 30 years now.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think when they say read the mail, I think, it's a lot more than just being able to scan it, right? It's like being able to scan it correctly, being able to get what the text says. Like, for example, if they're reading a letter or if they're reading something with dates or phone numbers in them, can they go ahead and easily have access to that information? So I think the first step is being able to recognize the text. The second step is being able to extract the right information from the text
Sure.
and then, yeah, giving it to. So that's where the navigation part comes in, right? So when we're able to read text really well, we can then go ahead, take that text, do some, what they call natural language processing or NLP on
Yes.
that text, and then give you the context in there. So when I'm looking at a product label, I want to be able to know, okay, so this product label, this is like a yogurt with 10% fat, right? Or this
True.
is yogurt with 1% fat. So it should give you that kind of information from reading the text itself. So that's I think we're on the same page there. I definitely want to keep adding more layers of knowledge to the text that we recognize, and not just give
Great.
them the plain text.
You touched on the pricing model earlier, where you
Hmm.
spoke about it being €2 per month, I believe you said.
Yeah.
Are there any other pricing structures? Can you actually buy the app for lifetime? Can you, pay yearly? What is there any other structures that you offer?
Yeah. So the app is basically €2 per month. It's 199 per month, and it's 1999 per annum. And if you want to buy it outright for a lifetime of updates, you can buy it out for €99. So €99 are dollars. So the price is the same in dollars as well. And that's basically the pricing structure of the Envision app as of today. Yeah.
Another question relating to pricing. Do you guys think of sometimes maybe like having specials, say, hey, Christmas is here, time for joyful
Ooh.
cherry stuff. Shall we make,
Yeah.
sales? Hey, come and buy. I think something you guys should look into, stuff like
Oh,
that,
we have
Black Friday or
actually.
whatever.
We just wrapped up so every
I
year we
think the
have
summer
two big
sales, yeah.
sales. Yeah, yeah, we just wrapped up our big summer sale where we were giving people, like massive discounts on the monthly, annual, and lifetime. For example, the annual was 50% off during the summer
Oh,
sale this
geez, I
year.
missed out on that. Can we have an autumn sale?
You've
Yeah,
got
we
you've
might have
got
a
you've got to
Christmas
do a
sale.
Black Friday, Karthik. You have to do a Black Friday sales.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
know, I think we would get a little lost in that crowd, but we for sure gonna have a Christmas sale towards the end of the year. So these are the summer sale and the Christmas sale are the two big sales that we have each year. So that's really how it works with
And
us.
that's
So people
interesting
can
that you
just.
talk about sales and pricing structures, and it's something that we always ask developers, and I'm very interested to know if you're happy to
Mhm.
answer, of course. With Envision AI, with its pricing structure, which I think is fairly reasonable, in the space of blind and visually impaired people, is it a model that is sustainable? Do you find that, is it a struggle to keep afloat? Because the blind and visually impaired space is quite limited to a point. So how do you guys sort of survive with that?
I think we're certainly not struggling, to stay afloat. A lot of people sort of expect app developers to either give their product for free or to price it at a point where it absolutely makes no business sense. So we made a decision early on to consciously ensure that the pricing is in a way that we can comfortably stay afloat. Yes, and yeah, I think the community is growing. It's definitely not a limited community anymore, I feel, because Android sort of unlocks the potential for us to go ahead and work with, people in India and other countries as well. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of traction in those countries, but we definitely would like to see more, if people feel that the product is giving them a lot of value, we'd definitely like to see more subscribers, and that sort of keeps us motivated and keeps us going. And I think on Android, the big problem that we have always faced is with the cracking of the apps and those kind of things. And if people in the community don't encourage such activities, I think we can continue to keep rolling out new versions of Envision with a
And I
lot of
think that's
stuff.
something that unfortunately it is quite commonplace. And I've actually just been a part of quite a few different WhatsApp groups where cracking is a big issue. There are a lot of
Yeah.
apps that do suffer from that, especially on the Android side.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely a big menace for us, because what that does is it puts a lot of unnecessary strain on our resources, because all these crackers, they all use our servers, they use all of that resources that should ideally go to people who pay for the app, right? And so that is actually one of the big, I would say, drawbacks of being in the Android community per se, right? Apart from the fact that you have access to such a huge group of users. So I think, yeah, it's got its pluses and minuses, but I would definitely, like, we hope that the community keeps continuing to support us, because we're not a big corporation. We can't really just give out the app for free and then, like, harvest all your
No.
data and sell it. Like, we're not interested in doing that or going down that path. We want to keep building this because we're really passionate about doing this, and because we know that what we're doing makes some kind of a positive difference in people's lives, and that sort of drives us to keep working on it. So that's what we're trying to do, and we hope the community continues to support us in the coming months. That's basically what I would say. That's my opinion on it.
Your product started on iOS, so the motivation to move across to Android, as you've discussed already, was to obviously reach more people. Why was
Yeah.
that? Why move at all? Like, are you happy with the iOS space as well? Because we haven't really sort of touched on the iOS side of things.
I think no. I think we're really happy with iOS and the ecosystem itself. But the reason why we started Envision, a big reason why we started Envision was to take this technology, to take these ideas around accessible design and all this really cool technology, and make it available to as many people as possible. And that's what drives us. And Android is unmistakably a huge platform. I mean, if you look at most of our users on, like, we have more users today on Android than we have on iOS, right? The community is huge. The platform is a bit challenging to work with, the whole cracking stuff, and there are a bunch of other things as well. The platform is a little tricky to work with, but it also gives us a lot of freedom that we don't have with iOS. So it's a really exciting thing. So when we first started on iOS, we always had the idea that we will eventually get to Android. So we wanted to really take our technology, polish it to a point where we felt comfortable that, okay, we can now put this on Android and it won't suck. And that's when we made that leap.
And I think
So are you
the
developing
probably
things first on iOS, or are you trying to
do them
do both at the
simultaneously.
same time?
We've come to the point where we're doing them simultaneously. So all the big stuff that we're putting out on iOS, they're hitting Android on day one. So that's how we've sort of engineered things now within the company to make sure that everything we do on iOS also eventually comes to Android, if not on the same day, but maybe within a span of a week or two.
If one relies on a crack, anything can go wrong, and then people are also going to be concerned about security and things like that. But when you have sales there, I think that's going to be a motivator for people to get a real McCoy as to trying to get the crack.
Yeah, no, we do see that. We do see that when we have these sales once in a while. We can't give a sale all the time, but then
No.
the thing
Very
is,
special occasions.
yeah, and during those times, we do see, like, a chunk of people who were otherwise, going ahead and using cracked versions of the app move here. But then the thing with cracked versions, and this is also feedback that I was also giving to Google back at some point, is that a lot of people tend to use, especially in countries like India or Brazil. The reason why they use cracked apps is they do have access to the funds. They do have credit cards and debit cards and stuff like that. But unfortunately, Google, the Play Store, doesn't accept their payment methods. So a lot of times, the reason why people go to cracked apps is not because they think it's too pricey, not because they think that or any other reason. It's simply because they want to make a payment, but then they're not able to, because the Play Store or the App Store doesn't accept their payment, right? So at that point, what they do is they try to find someone who sells them a cracked version, and they start using it, and then that cracked version gets blocked, and yeah, they go through all that hassle. So I hope in the coming months, hopefully in the coming months, the Play Store and the App Store continue to add more local payment methods so that developers like us can accept payments from people who genuinely want to pay, right? So that's, I
Great.
think, another big problem that we have also started to notice,
Do
So
you have
this,
anything that you would like to tell our listeners? Anything that you think that our listeners should know about, or is there
Yeah,
anything that maybe any updates that you're coming up with, or anything like that we should know about, or?
Yeah, sure. I think there are two things, right, that I would also want to touch upon. So the first thing is that, yeah, we have some great stuff coming out for the apps. We have some really big updates that you guys have been asking for a very long time. Just to give you a quick idea, we're having column detection coming out on the app. We have the ability to detect headings in any document and then label them correctly. We have that big feature coming out. We've got edge detection, which is a big ask from users on Android, where they want to be able to identify specific edges in the document that I'm missing. So we have all of these things in development, and we have a bunch of stuff coming out on the app side. And we've also launched the glasses. So that's also a big step for us, the Envision glasses. So that's also,
Yes.
we're already done with the pre-orders, and that's also going to be hitting the market very soon.
Great. So do you
So
want to tell us a little bit about the glasses? Is that the same? Are they the same features that are in the app?
So they have similar features to the app and more. So let me talk a little bit about the glasses, right? So the Envision glasses is something that's been another big ask. So when you guys were talking about what sort of the big ask from users, the first thing was, we want to be able to read all kinds of text, get us the best text recognition out there. The second thing is, it's always been that, hey, you know what? The app is great, but then the fact that I have to hold my phone all the time in my hand and then keep pointing it around, and especially when I'm outside, I have to hold a cane or a guide dog in one hand, in one hand, and the phone in the other. Like, that's not the ideal user experience for them. So what they've always been asking us is, take this thing and then put it on some kind of a wearable camera or smart glasses or whatever, so I can use the whole Envision. I can get the whole Envision experience hands-free, right? That's always been their ask, and so we've been looking at smart glasses as a market, as an industry, for the last 2.5 years, ever since we started. And last October of 2019, the Google guys came out with the Google Glass 2, right? So they
Yes.
came out with the second edition of the Google Glass. And we've already been in touch with the Google people some time back, because when we got the Google Play Award last year, I had gone to collect it, and then I managed to make a few connections there. And so we stayed in touch. And we reached out to them and said, listen, this is what we've been looking for, because the hardware is just phenomenal. Like, the hardware is the best smart glasses hardware out there today. And we got our hands on a pair before anybody else. We put our software on it. We started testing, and users loved it. So that eventually became the Envision glasses. So it's basically a Google Glass, but then it's purely running our software. It's an entire Envision platform that we've built. It's a product that I think could be a game changer in a lot of ways in the industry, right?
Yeah. So how long is the battery?
Right. So the battery lasts for about 6 hours on a single charge, right? It can come for a little bit longer when you put that on standby. So the glasses basically look like any other pair of spectacles. So you can wear them on like how you wear a normal pair of spectacles, but just that on the right hand side of the glasses, there's a camera that's angled towards the center. It's a wide angle
Sure.
HD camera. There's a trackpad that's located next to the camera, so you can use all the familiar gestures that you know of in voiceover or talkback. So swipe forward, double tap, two finger taps, and so on. It's a multi-touch trackpad. And then you have the speaker that's located next to your ear, and behind your ear is where all the processor and the battery and all of that stuff is located, and it can be charged with a USB-C charger. And it has a 6-hour battery life, and a little bit longer when you
So is that
consider
6 hours
just putting
of
it on standby.
constant use, or 6 hours of?
standby.
Yeah, so I would say it's 6 hours of just wearing the glasses and then having it at a point where you want to use it. And in our testing, it's about 4 hours of constant hardcore use, right? So 4 to 5 hours,
Okay.
you get constant hardcore use. So that's what we've seen basically.
So in other words, if I say I'm outside and I leave it on, we're on a hike or whatever that we're doing, and I have it on all that time. So at least
Yeah.
one would have at least at the most, 4 or so hours leaving it on, right? That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually, I don't think there's any other device out there that's been able to do that with that kind of a battery life. And yeah, I mean, it's because we're using the Google Glass hardware. So, but still, we've done a lot of work to optimize to the point where you can, for example, leave the instant text feature running on, and then as you keep walking, it just keeps speaking out all the text in front of you, blah blah blah. So you can keep doing that for like a solid 4 hours, not a problem.
And out of interest, how long does it take to charge from 0 to 100?
So you've got fast charging enabled on the glasses. So if you're connecting that to a fast charger, you can get to about 60% of the battery in about 30 to 40 minutes. And then if you want to go to a full 100%, it depends on the power source. But when I've been charging it, I can get it to 100% in about an hour. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
That's
So
not
are
exciting.
you
bad.
running
Yeah.
into
That's not
issues
bad at
with
all.
thermal or heating or anything like that? If they've been running for 4 hours, are you running into issues with heating? Like, has anybody actually left
Uh,
them on for 4 hours?
we've tried. So as part of our testing, I've left that thing on for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, it does get a little hot, but the thing is, none of the so unlike other kinds of smart glasses, none of the internals are located next to your temple, right? So usually what happens is when you wear these smart glasses, your temples tend to get really hot because that's where all the processing is actually happening.
Yeah.
But in the case of the Google Glass, all the processing is happening behind your ear, so it doesn't get very uncomfortable to use because your temples don't get too hot. But then, yeah, it does get a little hot, but not to the point where it's uncomfortable. Not like other smart glasses that we have tested.
Does the heating actually shut off the text detection or anything? Like, does it impact
Um,
on the
In
scanning
other
of
words, does it close it down, because it kind of gets too heated or something?
I haven't really tested. We haven't really tested, that exact scenario. But what we have noticed is, yeah, it does tend to get a little hot if you constantly leave this on with the processing happening, because the processing happens on the device, right? So of course the device tends to get a little hot when you leave it on. But what we have also factored in is if we see that, yeah, there is no activity happening, we just go ahead and put all the main functions to sleep, right? So it doesn't end up consuming as much processing power as it should. So we've done a bit of tweaking around those things so that, if someone wants to use this in an office environment and they want to use it for a full day, they're able to do that without any issues.
You said pre-orders have started. When do you guys expect to ship?
I'm sorry, I was saying the pre-order started in March and they have ended now. So we just ended the pre-order recently, and they're going to be shipping by the end of October. We were supposed to ship the end of September, but then that got delayed a little bit, so it's coming out the end of October. So we're going to ship the first units then to all the folks who have pre-ordered, basically.
what is the cost?
So at pre-order, it was 1,800 euros. That was the cost when 1,800 euros dollars. That was the cost during pre-orders. We are working with distributors in different countries right now, so that we can make the glasses available to more people. So we're in talks with them with regards to the pricing.
And so what is the
the exact-
non-pre-order price, or is that you're still working that out?
We're still working that out. So it's going to depend a lot on the country, the distributor, and all that other stuff. So we'll have more information on our website as that thing gets finalized. So we're still working on that.
And then does that do anything more than text detection? You said that you can leave it on with just text detection. Does it have features that the app doesn't have?
Yes, it does. So I was just coming to that. So you have text detection, you have face recognition, object recognition, the scene description, product recognition, all that stuff that the app has. What we've also done is we've added a video calling option within the glasses itself, right? So we call that option the Envision Ally. So what it is that you can make video calls directly from the glasses, right? And you can make that to any friend or family member. And we've released a special app called Envision Ally, which can be installed by your friend. It's a free app. a totally free app which can be installed by a friend or a family member, and then they can add you as an ally, or you can add them as an ally, and you can give them a call anytime you want to give them. So it's basically like a bit like FaceTime, but then it's on the glasses directly without you ever having to take out the phone. And we're also working on adding some very specific features like being able to share the location and all those things directly from the glasses.
Obviously, the ally is using its own app, and the person on the other end can see what effectively you're looking at.
Yeah. Exactly. So they can basically see everything from your perspective. So that's a feature that is exclusive to the glasses, and it's something that I think in our testing that's been, I would say, the one feature or one of the 2 or 3 features that has really come to be loved by a lot of people. So people use it all the time when they're outside and they want to get help to go from one place to another, or they're at a supermarket and they want to quickly call a friend or a family member to check on something. So it's one feature that has been used a lot. And another thing that's also exclusive to the glasses is that we are inviting other developers, we're working with other developers to get their apps also on the Envision glasses, right? So we're in talks with a few apps like Be My Eyes and Ira and a few of those folks right now to see if they'd be interested to come onto the Envision glasses as well. So that, when you're buying an Envision glasses, you don't just get Envision, you also get access to all these other apps. We're also in talks with a few navigational apps as well to have them also come onto the glasses platform. So it's going to be it's going to be like a full-blown platform, right? It's not just going to be like a product that you buy with some features on it. It's going to be a proper platform, and that's also a thing that's exclusive to the glasses.
When it uses, I'm talking particularly about the calling feature, video calling feature. Now, that obviously is going to be relying on the data coming from my phone, right? Or is there a way to where it can have its own data via, say, a SIM card?
Well, that's actually a great question. So the thing is, with the Google Glass, you don't have a SIM card. So what it does is that it connects to the hotspot on your phone if you're outside, or it connects to the Wi-Fi when you're at home or indoors, right? So what you can do is with the Envision app. So within the Envision app, we have a new tab called the Glasses tab. So if you install the Envision app from the App Store today, you'll actually see a new tab called Glasses. So when you first get your glasses, you can just open them up, pair them with the Envision app on your phone, right? And you can easily switch different Wi-Fi networks. You can go ahead and do a bunch of things with the glasses from the app itself. So it's more like a companion to the Envision app that way. So you'd be able to connect to your hotspot on your phone, or you'll be able to connect to Wi-Fi indoors. So that's how it works.
Good. Well, thank you. Karthik, this was really educating, and we are glad you came on, and I know it's getting late there. Hope you had your dinner before you came on.
Oh yeah, for sure. I had my dinner, and it's okay. It's a Saturday night. I usually go out with friends or stay awake late.
Or maybe don't tell us what you do on a Saturday night because you're in the Netherlands. So
not safe for work.
Well, Karthik, thank you so much, my friend, and we do really appreciate you coming on, and feel free to, of course, come on at any time if you've got anything
updates,
to let us know with updates and all those sorts of things, but we definitely do appreciate it.
You guys definitely through the Play Store, someone could send you email through that, send email, or is there another way you guys are on WhatsApp or any other platforms?
Well, there's the App Store as well.
Interact with people, yeah.
Yes, so the primary way to get in touch with us is, you can install the Envision app. We have a feature called Request a Call, where you could request a call from us. And then if you have any issues, we give you a call. So that's the fastest way to get in touch with us. So, you can go to the App Store or the Play Store, search for Envision AI, and then install the app and then check us out. You can also visit our website, letsenvision.com. Where you can get more information about the app, and also follow us on Twitter. We are quite active on Twitter and Facebook. If you just search for Let's Envision on Twitter and Facebook, you'll find us as well. So you can get in touch with us directly from within the app.
You're everywhere, except for Instagram.
We're on Instagram as well.
Oh, you will, gee, wow.
There you go.
We're on Instagram. So
You're everywhere.
Go to Let's Envision on Instagram, and
you can't forget that.
You know, TikTok.
You
I'm
cannot
kidding.
you cannot miss us. We're always watching. Yeah,
All
no.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
Awesome.
but I think
Well, we'll have to
you
follow
can
you
get us
on
all
our
feedback.
Twitter account. We have Anatad Podcast Twitter. So
For sure, for sure. And
uh,
yeah, and it's been awesome to be on the podcast. And
yes,
the
thank you
thing is,
so
I
much.
really like being, because like I had mentioned at the beginning of the podcast as well, I would really want to know what the community thinks, what can we do better. And I think today's discussion has sort of given me a window into what we should be focusing on. And I think all the
Great.
points that you guys mentioned were valid. So yeah, I would love to hear from
Yeah.
you about the app, and if you have any feedback, anything at all, you can always just shoot me an email, or
Yeah.
yeah, reach out to us from within the app, and we'd love to talk.
We'll do that. And, as the three of us, too, I think if there's any possibility, if you need any testers or anything, any feedback on upcoming features or something, of course, I'd be happy to help out as well.
Yeah,
And we
we'll
Sure,
definitely
definitely
sure.
do
appreciate
that.
you coming on.
But no, I think I'd love to be back. We have some pretty exciting stuff, and I'm guessing I'll be back sooner than spring, hopefully, to talk about
Excellent.
those. So
Yeah, because a lot
yeah,
must have
fingers
happened
crossed.
between now and then, and would like you to come
Yeah,
back and have some updates and talk about things that have happened between now and then.
Well, Karthik,
Great.
thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Karthik.
much, and
Thanks,
appreciate
thank
your
you so
Karthik.
time.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you,
Yes.
man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
All right.
All right, everybody. If you have listened this far, we have wrapped up the interview with Karthik or
Interesting
Kartik. Or,
conversation there, Nimmer and Warren.
It
Definitely
was really good.
some promising stuff up ahead, and I guess it's sort of one of these things that we watch this space and see what
Yeah.
Envision has to offer down the track. But
yeah, I
definitely
tried to give him
promising.
some good feedback and hopefully take some of that on board. And, I think in any of these apps, I tend to be have a strong opinion on what we should or shouldn't have. And that's okay, though. I thought it was good. And
Yeah, and
we'll
he's
see.
open-minded about it. He didn't take any offense to it, so that's
Let's
good.
hope not. We'll see if he agrees to come back next time. The guy from Speak, I noticed
Yeah,
he
that's
hasn't
how
been
you're
back.
going to know. Yeah.
I'm gonna have EL come back.
Speak less, maybe. Speak less.
No, he's a good boy.
He's a
Drink
good
more.
boy.
Yes, again, drink more and be a good boy. Yes. Mm. Now, listener feedback, Nima. Let's get into it if we've got it ready to rock and roll.
Yes, we've got some emails, and these are real ones this time. Well, the other ones were too. But,
Wow, they were really
I'm
yeah.
disappointed. I thought there's gonna be some more moolah today.
oh yeah, well, we've got an
Wow.
email here from Linson Productions. It says, "Hey team, hope all is going well, and everyone is safe during these trying times. I have an issue with three-finger swipe left and right gestures not registering, and also the four-finger swipe up not registering to go home. I also having an issue where my double taps aren't registering either. Thankfully, this is just a test device and not my actual daily driver. However, I wanted to switch to Android, but now I'm certain due to the issues my test device is a Pixel 4. How would getting a Samsung device be better, even though it's running 10 at the moment? Another question is the new Moto Razr 5G. Do you think the outer display would be usable to a blind person, since Motorola does a good job about not skimming their devices? Also, how is One UI with Samsung these days? When I ran a Samsung device with TouchWiz, it was horrible. Do I need to think of Google, Motorola, Samsung, etc. as different viewings of Android? It would seem that Google's skin is just how they see the OS. Just my thoughts on the subject. Thanks for the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Aaron. Okay, Aaron, real quick here. I'm going to try to answer your questions. Yeah, right now, Android 11 just came out, as it does often happen. It seems that we, as blind people, end up as beta testers. So in this case, Android 11 at the moment does seem to be having some troubles. I would tell you, though, that if you wait a month or two, things oftentimes find themselves getting substantially better. And so if you wait a month or two, probably until, you get another update, things will improve. Now, should they be this way? No, but it is what it is. So at the moment, yes, you're having issues. Yes, lots of people are having issues. Those issues are real. They do exist. Nothing I can tell you to work around them other than possibly disabling the gestures. Now, if you haven't enabled the gestures, I want to be very clear that you do have to enable those. So if your three finger gestures aren't working, it could be that you have them turned off. But again, there are issues with sometimes double taps not being recognized.
And to be frank as well, Nima, we had a very similar, well, not a similar, but we do have this issue crop up every year. As soon as the a new OS is introduced, there's always going to be some sort of issue. I think it happens.
Yeah.
Wait a month.
So, if you're interested in Android, it depends on what I would tell you is it depends on what you would like to do with your device as to whether or not you should switch. If you are an Android, if you're just switching just for the hell of it, frankly, I wouldn't. If you're switching because you have a good reason to switch, or you just want to try out the other side, or you just want to change, or if you are something that you particularly like after listening to these podcasts, then by all means switch. As for which device to get, it really, again, depends on what you're looking for in a device. So Samsung devices do have good hardware. They have recently gotten a bit better at updates, although they're still going to be substantially slower than a Pixel device at updates. And in general, they're pretty decent. Now,
and the
One
UI
works
the One
pretty
UI
well.
is pretty good these days. Yeah, like you were saying,
it's pretty good. You don't
It's
really
much better than
notice
what it
it
was.
as much as you used to. Certainly, it's gotten a lot better. It is still there, and you're still dealing with a skin that is on top of what Android has, and so it is still different. And there are still things that you get with One UI that you don't get with other flavors of Android. And Motorola, the only thing with Motorola is you're never going to see any updates. If you are okay with never seeing updates, then by all means get a Motorola, and that includes the Razr.
That's too
Motorola
much
is
money to
terrible.
dump down on something that you're not sure if you're going to get any updates or not. So
Yeah,
I
Motorola
really
is terrible
would
at
think
updates.
twice.
yeah,
So-
they always have been.
Now they are pretty much stock. So if you get a Motorola, you're essentially getting a Pixel. They're very much stockish. You're not
Yeah.
getting any kind of additional add-on skins. Occasionally you'll have something a little bit different, but for the most part, it's stock Android. The Pixels. Yeah, I mean, you could say everything's a skin, but the thing is that Google develops Android on these devices, these Pixel devices for these Pixel devices. And so what I call stock, it's certainly Google's own version of a skin, but what I call stock is a Pixel phone. Whether you think that's a skin or not, I don't know, but I'm calling that a stock flavor of Android. You don't really get anything on top of it. It's just stock.
That's the way
vanilla
Google
Android.
intended for it to
Yeah.
be.
It's
Yeah.
bare bones. It is Android essentially. Google
Yeah.
is
So
Android.
anything else like One UI or LG, anytime that a manufacturer kind of goes and adjusts and changes things up and adds things, that's what I call a skin. Now, how much you feel it or not depends on the skin itself. But I'm not saying that Pixel is the best device at all. I'm saying to you, though, that it is, I wouldn't call that a skinned device.
And if you are looking for a device that does update reasonably well, obviously the Google's going to be your Google device is going to be your best friend in that term.
Yeah.
Well, look
in
at
that
some
sort
of the
of,
Nokia
thing.
phones too.
I saw an article
Yeah.
today, and I'll see. Maybe we'll talk about it next time. But I saw an article today that actually had the Nokia close to the bottom of the list in terms
Yeah.
of updates.
They're actually pretty bad
So
these
they
days.
are
Nokia.
not.
Yeah.
They're not up. I mean, they are. They do update, but they do take quite a long time.
In fact,
Yeah,
Samsung,
no, the
if you-
frequency,
if
though, the
you're talking
frequency
about
is not-
frequency of updating, I mean, Samsung's definitely a heck of a lot better than what it was.
Yes.
And they,
Oh, yeah,
they've
definitely.
risen up the
Absolutely,
ranks.
yeah.
Now, I would get an unlocked. If you're going to get a Samsung, get an unlocked phone. Do not go with
Yeah.
the carrier phone, because if
No.
you get a carrier phone, you're also going to struggle with updates. Unfortunately, here in the States, getting the unlocked device gets you the best updatability. And once you start going down the route of the carriers, then you're going to start lagging behind on updates. It might take you a month or 2 or 3 longer to get an update, which is a shame, but it is what it is. So if you're going to get a device that is not Pixel, then if you can, subsidize it or just buy it or whatever you have to do. Get it unlocked. Get the one from Samsung or Best Buy. Get the one unlocked.
And I guess this listener has obviously been tuning into our podcast. I would suggest I think we started the Android versus iPhone series, I think it was 46 onwards, and You've probably already listened to those, but check those out. There's lots and lots of information. We've compared the two platforms. In particular, was it 49, Nima, I think, where we compared productivity?
Yes.
Was it 49?
Yeah,
So
I
probably
think
the
that
most
was
important
49,
one to tune
yeah.
into maybe in that term is 49. But again, as Nima said, it depends on what your use case is. And we
Or
don't
maybe
know
that was
so-
51. No, that was 51.
Oh, no, it was 51. Yeah, no,
No.
sorry, it was.
Was it
yeah.
51? 49? No, I don't remember.
Let's see here. We've
Next
got another
email.
email from Michael Ryan. Hey, guys. Have either of you guys experienced the following Google Assistant annoying weird behavior when using the Hey Google command? Message can't reach Google. Yep, I'm not going to read the rest of this email.
Oh, boy.
Because yes,
It's a familiar
this is a
tune.
bad one.
yeah.
It's a familiar
Yeah.
tune.
No, it
especially-
seems to me that it may be an issue through Google Assistant. Whatever the issue is caused, though. If you're using Android 10, if you're using commentary, the issue exists. The answer is turn off commentary. But it's not affecting TalkBack in Android 10. Now, if
No.
you're using Android 11 and you're using TalkBack, the answer is turn off TalkBack.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to necessarily be affecting commentary, although it might, I don't know.
I don't believe it is, which is very strange. So I don't
I
know
don't
what's
know.
going on here.
So the answer
Very
is
weird.
to use a different screen reader or turn it off until the issue gets fixed.
It
It's
will get fixed,
unfortunate.
I'm
it's
sure.
a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hopefully
think
it'll
it's
get
been
fixed
worked on.
soon.
We'll get
But
it
I
fixed.
will say right now the answer is turn TalkBack off, use it,
When
and
you
then
want
turn
to
it back
use it.
on.
Yeah.
Or just use it on something else like a speaker or whatever. Don't.
Yeah.
use
Well,
it.
even
I
with
don't
the,
know.
the-
you know.
even with the speaker, that's also become somewhat of an issue. And I know Nimmer and I in particular have touched on this over the last little while. But yeah, there's definitely something up there with
Yeah.
the smart devices.
So, yep, if you're
you're
using
not
Google
alone.
Assistant,
You're
you're
not
not
alone.
alone. There are issues at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got an email, last email from Mystery Magic. Okay.
Huh?
And its
I love
subject
that.
is Some Doubts.
Some doubts, huh?
Dear team, are the multi-finger gestures of TalkBack available on devices which do not run Android 11? I think there's a
The answer is a no.
misconception on people out there that getting the beta version of Android Accessibility Suite and enabling developer settings can bring the multi-finger gestures to even devices which are running Android 9. I can be wrong, though. Also, do you think that there is a haptic clock app for Android which can tell time in regular intervals through vibrations? Apple Watch does something similar to this and was wondering whether my phone can do it. For me, I did search the Play Store for this, and any apps advertise similar things, and I couldn't get many of them to work. Thanks for the podcast, and looking forward to my answers.
Now, this is something you can, I'm pretty sure you can do that on the new Samsung Watch. Is that right, Nim? I think they
Yeah,
offer
so you
that.
can do it on a Samsung Watch. You can do it on an Apple Watch. There are clock apps that will vibrate regularly and will chime regularly. They don't all seem to work very well depending on the devices. One of them is like Chime Time. Well, some of these have even left the Play Store, so I don't even know if some of these are even on here. I'm just mentioning some that I've seen in the past. Big Ben chimes.
Yeah, these are all pretty old. I don't
They're
think
all
they're
pretty
around.
old apps, and none of them
You
I've
want
seen have
something that
really gotten
vibrates, though.
updated. Well, they do. You can set them up to vibrate
To
and
vibrate
buzz.
only, okay.
Once, yeah, you can set. Now they're not going to tell you the time,
No.
but they will do something like vibrate on the quarter hour or half an hour or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and they will make a chime. So there's that. But no, there's nothing on a phone itself. Even an iPhone can't really do that. There's nothing that's going to tell you the time through vibrations, through taptic feedback or something like that. Now you can, as I said, do that with a Samsung Watch or an Apple Watch, but you cannot do that on a phone. So
Now, I have downloaded a few of these apps. I'm not sure what phone the listener's using, but if you are using a Samsung phone, you're going to have a lot of trouble with these apps because a lot of them don't work.
yeah, they used
'cause I
to
was
work
looking for
back in
something
Jelly
similar.
Bean days, and a lot of them probably haven't no longer work. So yeah,
You're going to
unfortunately.
probably struggle to find something on a phone, sadly.
But I tell you what, if you find an app, let us know.
Yeah, let us
and
know.
we'll be happy to feature it, review it, whatever else.
And you
All
never
right.
know. You probably might find one. The whole idea is just play with whatever you find out there, see which one works, and then,
Yeah.
like Nima says, share it with us, and we'll be more than happy or post it on the Anatad mailing list.
That's right.
And of course, boys, just a quick reminder to our listeners that if you have enjoyed this podcast, I think it's been chock full of news and lots of good content, especially for Envision. And again, thanks to Envision for coming onto the show, and we look forward to catching up with them again in the future. Please like and share the podcast. If you've been listening on YouTube, please obviously like the video, it helps us, and also share it. Let people know that we exist on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast,
I noticed some people on the
subscribe.
Anatad list said that they did not receive a link. Now, just
Yeah.
a tip, if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, anytime a video goes live, you receive a notification on your phone.
Indeed.
Anytime a video goes live, half an hour before the video begins, you should also receive a notification that says the video will go live in half an hour. And of course, if you go to open your Google or your YouTube app, and some of you may know this because I'm talking to you on YouTube, it will show up as, when we're live, it'll show up on the top of your feed, and that goes for any channel that you might be subscribed to.
Yep.
So you can also elect to get all notifications if you haven't. There's a box once past the subscribe or unsubscribe button, swipe right once, and there's a box that says show notifications or something. Open up that box, and there's a thing that says occasional notifications or all notifications. So you can set it to all notifications, and then you'll get those notifications.
And
Anyway,
of course,
yes, please share.
Please definitely do it because, anytime that you share the podcast or you share the YouTube channel, letting people know that we exist, we obviously grow. You get better content like you did this week, and we might have another mystery guest coming up down the track as well. So do please think about doing it. It really only takes a few minutes, or not even that, 30 seconds to share something. And it helps you guys out. You get better content, and we can bring you great reviews and hopefully some apps that we can try out, Nimmer and Warren, for free, which is very
Some
handy.
plastic devices.
And plastic devices, yeah, absolutely.
Also, there's as I said before too, there's a video on the YouTube channel that was unbroadcast or unadvertised video of an unboxing. So if you are subscribed to the channel, go back and look through those videos. There was an unboxing done earlier today of a mystery device. So enjoy that as well. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope that you've enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you all next week.
Nimmer and Warren, goodbye. Catch you next week on
Adios,
53.
amigo.
And Happy New Year to all the Jewish people out
Oh,
there.
yes.
And,
Happy New Year.
Shana Tova, Lakolam in Israel. So
And I've enjoyed their New Year because I'm up to cocktail 3, baby.
there you go. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.